Newsfirst, NEWSLINE with Faraz, Shauketaly.
And a very good evening to you and welcome to NEWSLINE Live. As always, broadcasting from the Newsfirst studios in a very specially designed studio in Dawson Street in Colombo. And this evening, we've got a member of the Frontline Socialist Party, Mr. Nuwan Bopage, who is of course an attorney at law as well. And the Frontline Socialist Party are joining in various people who are concerned as to what is happening currently in Sri Lanka, namely in terms of developing the port. That's one question. Let's see what else is there. Very good evening to you, Mr. Bopage, and welcome on the program. Now there seems to be a lot of consternation, concern about the announcement that the East Terminal will be at the Colombo port, will be given to an Indian company. Yes. President Nandasena Gotabaya Rajapaksa made a statement very specifically says that its 51% ownership will remain in the hands of Sri Lanka. So what is...
Top of that, he's clearly stated that he's going to take back all the national resources sold by the previous government. That was their demand. Now here, once you commence the operations of this terminal, our capacity will be increased for another 2.4 million containers per year. Yeah. Right now we are doing 7.4 million. It will increase up to that. Trade unions very clearly prove the fact that within 7 years period of time, they can definitely earn around $600 million from these operations of this particular terminal. So therefore it is clear, this is just like a goose laying golden eggs. But our leaders, as usual, they were unable to understand this and they are going to sell it to their personal agendas and because of the geopolitical situation in the region.
Do you think that our leaders are guided by some people who maintain that if you look at the productivity of the enormous workforce at the Colombo port, and if you look at the way that operation works and you compare that with one of the other terminals which is run by a private company, people say that there's hardly any comparison between the productivity from the private entity versus the non-productivity of the or the underperforming productivity of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. How does that? Do you think that our leaders are guided by that and therefore want to bring management in from a foreign company?
Yeah, that is exactly issue. Now, if there is an inefficiency of a certain government sector, who will be responsible for that? Now, people are voting during the election for these parties to make policies. Now, then if there is inefficiency, they are liable for that. Let's take this port authority. Even as you said, there is a huge workforce. Now I have personal experience. I am handling certain cases. Just before the election of the 2015, several youth from Hambantota, they asked to come to harbour and they were absorbed to the cadre. That is what happened. So that is these politicians, their policy is only responsible for that. Even under such circumstances, still Colombo Port was able to earn rupees 600 billion profit in the year 2018, even under those circumstances.
600 B.
Yes, billion rupees. Yeah. So now as far as this issue is concerned, these workers are specifically saying that, let us to do that, we will develop that, this is the plan to develop that, we have that capacity, we are efficient to do that. So that workers are saying that. So now we have seen that President went to RMV and General Hospital. His main complaint is people are not working, they are inefficient, they are not in line with his policies. Now you have opportunity. These workers are saying we are ready to work. we are ready to run this.
But these are also the same workers who the others claim are not productive enough.
That's why I said now, same workers who are the most significant group of that port authority, they are giving that assurance. Engineers are giving that assurance. So, as I said earlier, if there is inefficiency, if they can't derive profit out of that, the policy makers should take that responsibility. You can't blame the workers, because who's appointing the
But it
minister?
is the favorite place for politicians to place their potential voters.
Exactly.
Like you said, the Prime Minister now, Mahinda Rajapaksa, he caused so many people who were working in Hambantota to be absorbed into the Colombo. But the fact is that when they were employed at Hambantota, they were not working for the Ports Authority. They were working for private companies operating within the Ports Authority. And that didn't sit well with those youth who were working there, and because they had been promised jobs, and of course they were promised state jobs, meaning with a pension. It's this love affair with the pension that's driving this.
Yeah.
So the Port Authority is a heavily politicized place, and if you were just purely to do the number crunching, then it doesn't justify having such a large workforce.
Yeah, not only Port Authority, when you go to Electricity Board, Water Board, all the institutions like that. On the other hand, not only the Mahinda Rajapaksa regime, all the previous regime did that. So they just thinking about that when the discussion going in respect of this issue, the workers saying that their main concern is their survival. The politicians' main concern is survival. They are saying this is not just mere issue of the port. This is an issue of their survival. Actually, President was a representative of Prime Minister Modi during that discussion. So it is very clear the geopolitical situation. On one hand, China is there. Now Hambantota harbour was given to China. Then the people who protested by that time, we have seen the people like Namal Rajapaksa, they have a huge drama. Now they are in this government. Then people who sold the Hambantota harbour now started to protest. This is the reality. What is the reality? Reality is now there is a program from China, one belt program. Then from US India align, there is a pivot to Asia program. Now we are a crossfire. We are now trapped in this the inter-imperial conflict, rival. So whoever comes to power now, we know before the election, this president like a lion. Now in this issue is just like a lamb. Why is that? Because that is a reality. With this current political situation, you cannot challenge that inter-imperial conflict. And on the other hand, locally, you know now there's a local company going to invest 1 billion rupees in the port city. Now recently, in the share market, they are giving 50% concession for the companies who registered in the share market. Then suddenly, it's very astonishing, during last 2-3 months, various people started registered companies in the share market. So how it's happened? In a situation like that, in a COVID situation like that, it is very clear now they are going to facilitate people who are laundering money. Now we know some people who were very involved in manipulating of the share market now has become main close businessmen of the government. So now they are facilitating them. So that is what happened throughout. Their main concern is just their survival. They have no concern. Now as far as this issue is concerned, now workers propose to formulate a committee from workers, then audit department, then treasury, and formulate a transparent system to run this terminal. And they have given plan within 7 years they will earn derive profit out of 600 million, and you can cover up the whole investment. That investment plan has been given. They said we have that money. Port Authority initially can invest around 100 million US dollars. That is sufficient to commence the operations.
Okay, so when you take all that into account, why do you think that this government have continued with this transaction with India?
It's very clear now.
Well, with an Indian company.
Yeah, exactly. It's very clear. Now, as I said earlier, now there's a geopolitical conflict between China and US aligned other groups, India and Japan. Now already Sri Lankan government has given Hambantota harbour to China.
Yeah.
Now as far as this Colombo port is concerned, it's very important, it's a geological hub, so it's a very significant harbour. So now they want to balance that intra-imperial conflict. So therefore the Sri Lankan government, whoever comes to power, cannot get rid from this pressure. Now they are trapped to that pressure. So therefore now we know the Adani group is very highly unpopular businessman in India. Now he is very close friend of Prime Minister Modi. So he is implementing.
These are reported that way.
Yes. Now he is implementing that agenda of Modi and the US, Japan, their agendas. They are going to implement it here. Now it's very clear. Sri Lankan government, president, now they are trapped on this conflict between the China and the US.
On that note, Mr. Nuan Bopage, who is in conversation with us today, we'll take a short break for this message, and we'll see you on the other side of that. This is Newsline Live.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly. Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with Mr. Nuan Bopage from the Frontline Socialist Party. Now then, you touched on something which has set off several questions about the stock market. You was talking about the stock market. Now, certainly the stock market is experiencing several highs, and there are companies that have shown a remarkable interest amongst the investors, sometimes commanding up to over 35% of the daily trades and so on. Why do you think this? Where is this new confidence or renewed confidence coming from?
Yeah, actually, when you think about the share market itself, is not reflect actual economy of the country. It's just like a business, just like a jackpot there. Because now you aware in 2019 budget, there was a proposal to give 50% tax concession for the companies which are registered in the share market. Now after the January 2021, these budget proposals are now going to implement. Just before the implementation of budget proposals, various people suddenly registered companies and they started to pump money to the share market. That is what happened. Now I have seen certain news reports yesterday. The share market was very drastically boosted, and some media reports say that now country's economy is going to escalate, but it is a myth. This is very clear. Now through this Now we know even during the COVID period, no concessions had been given to people. Now, for example, there was tax concession for sugar. Ultimately, what happened? One company was able to earn billion worth of profit out of that, while collapsing 14.
Yeah, we are digressing. What about the thing about the stock market?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to build up my argument, that no concession had been given to the people during the even COVID season. Why they are giving this concession to specific segment of the business?
Right.
It is very clear. Now they are going to facilitate people the money laundering. Now through these companies, they are going to bring this money back to Sri Lanka. Then one can build up argument, it's good trend. Coming these investment to country, that will boost the economy. That is the myth that we have been experienced last 30-40 years, because their main objective is to expand their capital. That is what these businessmen are doing. They are bringing money here.
Are you saying that there is a certain amount of pumping and eventually dumping that like happened in back in 2012? Are you suggesting that that might be now happening right now?
Exactly. Now, for short term, you can show some statistics and say that there is a boost of the share market like that. But it's just like a bubble. Now, these people bring in this money and they will be able to.
But if they're bringing money in
yes.
To the country to invest in the stock market, isn't that good?
So ultimately, what I'm talking about the perspective of the people.
Yeah.
Whatever money comes to Sri Lanka, ultimately benefit should go to the people.
But
in Sri Lanka, you know, even during the COVID season, the first 20 companies were able to double their profit. How it's happened? Ultimately, they are taking the money of the people because their main objective is to expand their capital. So, bringing this money won't help to escalate the economy of the people.
Mr. Bopage, as you are aware, after the onset of the pandemic, the COVID-19, CV-19, Sri Lanka's tourism industry took a huge hit, and so did, therefore, the finances of our country. We are missing around $3 billion. That was the contribution from the tourism industry. So today, our treasury is minus that $3 billion, right? And so they are obviously trying everything that they can to encourage a return. We need to replace that $3 billion. Some of the exports went up, so on, you know, like tea and so on. Our exports were strong. The remittances from expatriate workers continued to be robust, but we're missing the $3 billion in tourism. So other measures, like including the boost in the stock market, and if it is attractive enough for foreign investment to come in, but the whole point is that we don't see the foreign investment. That's the problem. We see only a very select group of people who are investing in the stock market. So to a point, you're right that it's from the same pot, and therefore this is some artificial pumping going on. But at the moment, we have no definitive proof because nothing else has happened.
Now, if the main objective is that, one can say that's fine, we will do that. But now, at the beginning of this discussion, we argued that why we are giving this ECT to India, foreign company to earn money out of that. If there are
Why can't we go the route, as one of our viewers says, like Dubai? They don't sell their assets. Instead, they hire the expertise. So you want top management, you want experienced marketeers, you hire them for their knowledge, for their know-how, and they pay them big salaries and give them all the benefits, but the ownership is with the United Arab Emirates. And the best example of that system would be Emirates, the airline. Now, would you welcome that?
Now, you can decide the mechanism having a discussion with all the parties. My concern is now, in principle, government decided to sell that.
Yeah.
So, if they are deviating from that principle, exactly the workers, administrators, other stakeholders can get together and formulate whatever suitable mechanism. So, that is why policymakers are there. So, as you said earlier, now what I want to build up argument, now their main concern is foreign investments, the other to build the efficiency. Then while you are selling one of the main project that earn billions of profit to country, at the same time you are saying we need investors, we need people to invest money here. So if that is so, if there are companies to invest 1 billion rupees in the port authority, we have money there. Why you are scared? Money is there. So it's very clear the ulterior motive is behind that.
What is the ulterior motive of this government then?
It is very clear. The very reason for giving this concession just to facilitate people who have money laundering, because it's very clear there are various complaints against the when they were ruling previously, that there are the malpractices and other illicit money complaints. Now they're
not on their own. The Yapaalanistas also did this.
Same thing.
They also were corrupt.
So there's no difference between so-called Yapalan and this. That's why I earlier explained. So their policies like that. Now here, using these budget proposals, that's what they are going to do. If there's no any future plan, or they are not bringing the country to the proper track for the development of the country, for the betterment of society, they are just facilitating one segment like Modi did in India. In India, Modi, Adani and Ambani, very recently they increased their profit 2-3 times. So that is what the Modi said, using the nationalism facilitated their friends to gain profit out of that. Nothing has been happened to the people.
But just as we're coming towards the end of our program, can I put it to you this way? Whilst what you say is, I hear what you say, but the people, the voters in our country haven't really matched with you, because you can see that in the way that they voted. They've either voted, this time round, they voted with a near two-thirds majority for the current government, and with the SJB picked up rather commendably their 54 seats, right? So the people of the country have, for a long time now, they seem to be navigating away from parties such as yours, and also leftist parties and so on. They're losing their ground. So is it an argument, your argument, is it an argument that doesn't hold weight with the people?
Oh yeah, let's take this as experience. Now, before the government, the pioneer protesters of this fight is government trade unions. Now they were with the government, they were with the policies of the Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Even before the election, you interviewed me, here we argued that, because why people are not in line with us. Now the same trade unions with the government saying that this system can't move, and their proposals are complete in line with our policies, socialist policies. What they are suggesting, formulate a committee with proper representation of the workers, do the operation through that workers committee. Even though there is a political, they are not doing it, I think, with a proper political understanding, but ultimately their policy is identical to the socialist policy. That's why we are supporting this, and we are inviting people, as you said, for last 70 years, you face these severe consequences. You face this situation. Now we need a system change. You just change, we told you, just changing a face won't bring anything. Now within 1 year,
on that note, well, unfortunately we've run out of time. Thank you very much for being on the program. And it's now time for the primetime news from News First. Take care. Have a wonderful evening ahead of you, wonderful week ahead of you. And as always, God bless you.